So the purpose of this video is pretty straightforward. I've started a Patreon account. Why am I doing this? No, it's not just because I like money. If I wanted to just make money, I wouldn't be a musician. No, there's really two main objectives here. Number one, first and foremost, it's something a lot of people have requested. I would love to get these tracks up onto Spotify and other streaming services. But that's gonna cost money out of my own pocket. So I'm gonna need to start a new DistroKid account just for Beatz. I'm gonna have to pay for the cover licensing for each of those songs. It's a monthly fee that they lump together and charge you at the end of the year, and then charge that to you every year. I do want to do this legally. I want to do this properly through the copyright laws and have these labeled as covers, which is what they are. And this is going to be the best way to make sure that they don't get taken down for copyright or anything like that. Quick stipulation to that though, occasionally I might post something that I can't do on Spotify. For example, What If Rock the House was on Plastic Beach? I sample Dell's vocal track and the super fast jellyfish drums so heavily on that, I kinda can't really justify calling that a cover. That's more of a remix, and you can't post a remix to Spotify without the artist's expressed written consent. But by and large, most of what I do is going to be eligible to be put up on Spotify if I can pay for it. And that's what the Patreon is going to help with more than anything. Number two, once the cost of getting it onto streaming services is covered, everything above and beyond that, I'm going to be putting into a pool. And what I'm going to do with that is basically make this channel better. There are pieces of equipment I have my eyes on. There are plugins I want. There are musicians I would love to hire. If you watched my Stylo on Demon Days cover most recently, I hired 2 musicians to be guest stars on there. And I was happy to compensate them fairly for their time. They were really talented, they brought something excellent to it, they were great to work with, and they deserve to be compensated for that. However, that's more money out of my pocket. And let me tell you, YouTube is not going to be fronting the bill for this. I've been monetized now for, I think, almost 2 months. Yesterday I took a look to see how much ad revenue I've earned so far. It's like $16.84 or something like that. And I can't even take that out until I hit $100. Now, don't get me wrong, I appreciate anyone who sat through like a 5-second, or an unskippable ad or something. Like, hey, thanks for that. I mean, that's very, patient of you, and I appreciate that, but it's not gonna be enough to front the bill for these things I want to do. An example of a piece of equipment I would love to get my hands on, this is like my holy grail right now, I would love to be able to get an Onichord OM300. If you're not familiar with that, that's the piece of equipment that in the very infamous or famous clip of Damon Albarn on Zane Lowe, he shows, here's how I wrote the backbeat for Clint Eastwood. Rock 1 preset, there it is. That's hilarious and awesome, and that'd be fun to play with, but here's the thing, he's used that Onichord on way more than just the backbeat for Clint Eastwood. He's used it on a lot of different tracks, you can hear it all over the place, and that would open up my sonic capabilities for what I can do on these tracks quite a bit. So that right now is like my holy grail, but used, we're looking at $600, $700, $800 for one of those. Any money beyond the DistroKid fees is gonna go straight towards purchasing something like that. I love the way these tracks turn out. They mean so much to me and I have so much fun doing it, and the reception from people has been incredible. It's unlike anything I've ever received with things I've done musically. All your comments, your suggestions, your feedback, it's awesome. Like, it makes me want to keep going. And I would love to make these tracks bigger and better and more interesting and just widen the range of what I can do. And this will help with that, because otherwise it's all coming out of my pocket and it's hard to justify that when, again, things like the YouTube ad revenue is not up to snuff. So, rewards. What do you get for signing up for the Patreon? First of all, it's only going to be one tier list. $1 a month, that's it. If you want to pay more, you can, but $1 a month is all you need to get access to all of the rewards. So what does that get you? First of all, like I said, it supports getting everything up onto Spotify, and it supports me getting new and better equipment, hiring musicians, all that. But you'll also get access to high quality downloads. I can do 320 kilobit MP3s, waves, FLACs, all from the source, so you can hear the highest possible quality of this. I can do instrumental downloads. I've had a lot of people ask for instrumental versions of these mixes, and I might post some of those on YouTube eventually, but I'll definitely be posting them on the Patreon. I can also do stems and multi-tracks. If you're someone who likes to play around with audio and you want access to just the drum tracks of one of these, or just the guitars, the synths, my vocals, whatever. I can do multi-tracks and stems of those, and you can play around with them, do whatever you want with them. Have fun with that. I also plan on doing some behind the scenes videos, some breakdowns of some of the tracks. Here's why I came up with this. Here's how I programmed this. Here's what my session looks like and the plugins I used, whatever. I'll make those exclusive to Patreon. So if that's the kind of thing that interests you, that's the place to check it out. And I'll also be posting polls and discussions there. Little stipulation to that as well. I don't really like to rely on something like a poll to determine what song I'll do next. I love reading the suggestions, don't get me wrong. Keep them coming. Like, I want to hear this song on this album. By all means, leave that comment. I'm going to read it and I'm going to think about what that's like. But the ones that I choose to work on are ones that kind of speak to me like, oh, I really want to do that. You know, I'm like taking a walk somewhere and all of a sudden I start hearing a riff from one album as if it might be on another. And then I'm like, when I get home, I got to start working on that. So that's usually how it comes to me as opposed to like reading the comments. But maybe I've got a couple ideas I'm sort of bouncing between and I don't know which one I want to finish next. I might come to you and be like, hey, which one of these sounds the most interesting to you? Or which album do you want to hear something on more than others? And that might influence my decision on what comes up next. I will be posting videos up there probably a couple days before they go on YouTube too, so consider that another bonus. And lastly, of course, standard Patreon reward. You'll get a thank you in every video I post going forward at the end. I'll thank every single person who contributes to the Patreon in those videos. So, long story short, if you want to see this channel grow, if you want to hear my tracks on Spotify, $1 a month, Patreon, there's the link. It's the best way to support what I do. If you can't do it, if you don't want to do it, I completely understand that. I don't feel totally comfortable asking for money for this anyway, let alone talking on camera, so I certainly can't hold it against you if you don't want to spend the money. But if you do, it really helps me out a lot. This is the best way that I can think of to see this channel grow and become something bigger, more exciting, more interesting, and again, make it so that you can hear these tracks on Spotify. So that's it. That's my pitch for Patreon. Hope to see you there. Otherwise, I will see you, or rather you will hear me, in the next Egg Beatz video. Peace.